Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome to your Big Buck Legends one-on-one podcast.
All right, here we go.
Presented by Kindred Digital, Toy Production Services, and Big Buck Country 1015.
All right, I'm listening.
Each show, we'll sit down and go one-on-one with the country music legends. And from time to time, we'll introduce you to the future legends as well. Pour your favorite drink and sit back and enjoy your Big Buck Legends one-on-one podcast.
All right, I think all the levels are set.
Go.
Let's go.
Here's your host, Jason Toy.
Well, hello, everybody. Jason Toy here with you, and we welcome you in to another edition of our Big Buck Legends one-on-one podcast. And when we started this program, we decided to obviously make it about the country music legends. But we also said from time to time, we're going to let you hear from the future legends and even just legends in general. And that's what we're doing today. We're going to hear from a true American legend here today. Joining us on our Big Buck Legends one-on-one podcast is the oldest living Congressional Medal of Honor winner, Mr. Woody Williams, Hershel Woody Williams. And he is still going strong at 98 years old, still raising funds for his Gold Star Families organization, and also as an ambassador for the Salvation Army. So sit back, relax, enjoy our candid conversation with Congressional Medal of Honor winner Hershel Woody Williams here on our Big Buck Legends one-on-one podcast. All right, we get the honor now to be able to hang out with a great man, a great American, and always get an opportunity to take advantage of the opportunity whenever I get a chance to see him and get him in here on a microphone. We're talking about the great Woody Williams, and Congressional Medal of Honor winner, and 29 years old now, right? Is that how old you are now?
Yeah, a little better than that, yeah. A couple more years older.
98, right?
98,
Congrats.
yes, sir.
You just had a birthday not too long ago, so happy birthday.
October 2nd, yes, sir.
All right, I've asked you before, and I give this to people all the time. I want you to give it to them. What is the key to staying healthy at 98?
Two things.
All right.
Number one is I have continued to exercise my body every morning. Now, there's some mornings when I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning going to take a flight I might miss. But normally every morning I do an exercise to work every part of my body so that every joint works. And I don't have any pain in any joint that I have. So that's one thing. If we don't keep our bodies limber and moving, then they're going to stabilize and
you
got a problem.
Slow down, yeah.
The other thing is when I was still working, I had a boss who was about 48 years of age. I'm about 26 years of age, and he had more energy than any man I had ever seen. He had been in World War II, came out as a colonel, and he was the manager of our Veterans Administration office here in Huntington. And I was his public information officer, so I had to go with him wherever he went, making speeches and appearances and that sort of thing. And, we would just, if we were in Shinnston, West Virginia, and it was going to take 4 hours to get home, we still drove home, and, it didn't make any difference about the hours. But he'd be at work next morning at 7 o'clock. Didn't make any difference what time we got in. And one day I said to him, where in the world do you get all your energy? He was about to wear me out, and I'm 26 years old. And he said, my dad was a country doctor in Blacksburg, Virginia, and he's the only doctor in town. But he said, when I was 16 years old, he told me, if you want to stay healthy and keep up your energy, drink vinegar and cider every morning.
A little bitter, isn't it?
Vinegar, cider, and honey.
Honey.
Vinegar and honey every morning.
Mix it
I said
all
vinegar
together,
and
right?
cider. Vinegar and honey every morning. He says, I've been doing it ever since.
Wow.
The only time I didn't do it was when I was in the Army and I couldn't do it. But I said, well, if it works for him, maybe it'll work for me. So from the mid-60s, every morning, I do vinegar and honey. Just a jigger full of vinegar, but some honey and warm water so that the honey will melt. And I've been doing that all these many years. I've got most of my kids doing it, or my grandchildren doing it. Tim Wolf, our former sheriff and now lawyer, judge, he's doing it. So I have a great number of people, and I finally worked up a recipe so I can pass out cards when they ask me, where do you get all of your energy? How do you stay so young? Well, I give them a card for my recipe.
Did you patent that? Did you put the?
I've thought about that.
Woody Williams is here with us. And what kind of vinegar is it? Just white vinegar?
No, it's vinegar that has a mother in it.
Okay.
And the bottle is made by an outfit called Bragg's, and it has right on the bottle in red letters, with mother.
With mother, okay.
That if it doesn't have that, then it's manufactured. It's made together. But if it has the mother in it, then it is natural. It's raw vinegar.
And then you do natural, just the raw honey too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, straight from
raw
the
honey.
Wow, that's awesome indeed. So you actually put it on a card, huh?
Yeah. Well, I got asked so many times. I got tired telling it, so I just worked out the recipe.
All right. This is my weekend task here. I'm going to get this together. I'm going to start. I'm going to start this.
Okay.
See how it goes.
All
I'll
right.
let you know about it.
It sure can't hurt you, but it just might help you.
What did the military teach you? What did it do to shape you as a man?
Well, I was born and raised in a large family, and we were taught that you obey, number one. My father would make the statement many times, I'm only going to tell you this one time. I don't want to have to tell you the second time. So that helped. When I went in the Marine Corps, I had no trouble adjusting because of my teaching as I grew up. But going into the military, your life completely changes. You take on a new life that you had never, ever anticipated. Yeah. And then you have to go to war, and you do something that you were taught that you should never, ever do, and that's to take a life. But all of a sudden, if you're going to save your freedom, save your country, and protect your people, then it's necessary that somebody wins, and that needs to be you. And consequently, you have to eradicate the other people in order to win the war. And you live with that for several years, or at least I did, and many of them longer than me, 4 and 5 years. And then when you come home, you've got to make a readjustment. You're going to go back to where you were prior to military. And sometimes that's a very difficult adjustment to make. We have a lot of individuals that have trouble readjusting to civil life.
Yeah.
And I had problems because you just can't forget overnight all that horror that you saw and witnessed and been part of during a period of war.
How long did it take you to get over that? Or have you gotten over it?
Well, yes, I have finally. The Lord finally rescued me, really. I couldn't forgive myself. That was my problem. Because I'd been taught you never take a life. And then I did, and then I just couldn't forgive myself. Finally, I sought the forgiveness of the Lord. He forgave me. That made it possible for me to forgive myself, and my life changed again.
Wow.
I became another person completely from what I was prior to that day.
And Marines are the toughest of the tough. I mean, and when it comes to it, and what you guys were asked to do, and still they're asked to do. You and I were talking off the air here about your great grandson who's doing winter. What does it call it?
Cold weather training.
Cold weather training up in the snow right now. But how do you balance knowing, okay, this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, and being scared? I mean, just plain scared.
Yes.
Is that a hard balance to work?
It is a very difficult balance to work. It surely is. And of course, I'm not quite sure whether the readjustment is harder or not, but in my mind, it was. It was harder to readjust back to civil life than it was to readjust for military life.
Yeah.
So individuals that have experienced combat, there is nothing in the world like it, and there is no explanation that you can give to a person that has never been in a combat situation, because it's just something you can't visualize and you can't comprehend why or how you do that, or even why it's necessary.
Woody Williams is here with us, and this transition, come back from active duty, you come back stateside, and you talk about the transition of not forgetting, but trying, like you said, forgiving and moving on from that. And it seems like nowadays that is more in the forefront. We hear about every 22 minutes a soldier takes their own life and suicide and all that stuff. And I'm glad there's a voice about it now to try to get the help.
Yes, we didn't do that after World War II.
Really?
At all. No. And we had a number of the same kind of situations because there was no place for the individual to go at that time to receive counseling or assistance in any way. Mm-hmm. And now we have so many avenues that persons can go to and seek professional help that was never available to World War I or World War II guys. It became somewhat available after the Korean conflict or the war, and then became very prevalent after the Vietnam War. And now today, it's just unreal of the services that are available to any individual that wants to seek help. And it's there for them, and it's free to them, but they've got to take the initiative to do it.
Because we hear a lot in the news negative when it comes to the VA, but there is a ton of positive things. I don't think the light's shown on as much about the VA. And you talk about the services they offer there.
Yes, absolutely. And the Huntington VA Medical Center is just unreal in the way of the way they treat veterans, the personalities that are existing there to make it friendly, and the desire to serve. It's just so obvious. Now, you have different people in different parts of the world and different parts of America that maybe that isn't true, but it certainly is true at the Huntington VA Medical Center that just by happens to have my name on it. And I didn't have anything to do with that, and I was completely astounded when they told me that medical center was going to carry my name. I don't know why these things happen to me. Yes. I know that the experiences that I've had, the great privileges that have come my way, are a result of what others did before.
Is it overwhelming?
It can be overwhelming. It really can, yes. And but I am very appreciative of the fact that our people, friends and total strangers, recognize the fact that our country does recognize those that have gone maybe beyond the call of duty. So many of them sacrificed their lives in doing that, and the Medal of Honor was given to the next of kin, to the mother or father or widow or children. But it's still there. That dedication and love to serve is still in our armed forces. It's not, I don't believe, as prevalent now as it was a few years ago, but it'll come back.
That's awesome indeed. Hey, before I let you go here, and you're always in demand, so I appreciate the time when you give it to me. Let's talk about the Gold Star families a little bit. You guys continuing. First off, tell folks that may not know about what it is, give them the kind of the breakdown of what it is.
Okay. Well, back in World War I, we started, or our mother started, a Gold Star Mothers Organization. And for years and years, that was the only person that we knew, or the only term that we used was Gold Star Mother. We didn't go beyond mother, and of course we all know that we're closer to our mothers than we are to anybody else, but eventually a father, a Gold Star father, and we'd never mentioned Gold Star Dad. That term was never used that I have ever heard until about 2008. And Gold Star Dad, who was a widower, had no family. He was by himself. He was alone, and he lost a son in Afghanistan. And he told me about that. He told me about receiving that knock on the door and the two Army guys standing there telling him that his son had been killed. He had nobody to talk to. He had nobody to communicate with or to share in his grief. And so from that, I determined personally that we had to do something to recognize the over 11,000 individuals in West Virginia who have sacrificed their lives. We'd never said anything about their relatives at all, except Gold Star Mother. So we decided we'd have a family memorial, a memorial to honor all relatives related to that individual, because everybody related grieves to some extent when you lose a loved one. And we did the very first one at the Donald Kennard Cemetery in Nitro or Dunbar. And that was the first one ever done in the United States of America. And West Virginia did it. And we thought we had done what we were supposed to do and we were finished. But the son of a father who lost his life in Vietnam saw it on the internet. He was at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, and he said, "We need one of those here too, because we have families in this community that have lost loved ones." So he did number 2, and then it just continued to go. And just a couple of weeks ago, we dedicated the 88th Gold Star Family Memorial Monument in the country, and at least one in every state in the Union.
That's awesome.
And West Virginia has 7, and we're working on about 6 more. So West Virginia is as known, one of the most patriotic states of our Union. And it's evidenced by the fact that people in these communities want to do something so that those loved ones will never be forgotten.
So that's what the memorial is in these
That's
locations. Your silhouette is there saluting, which is great. And this allows where families can go and remember, right?
Yes, and get acquainted with each other. They didn't know each other.
Yeah.
They've never met each other. They didn't even know each other existed in a community.
I'll say it almost started the community, then, didn't it?
So
Wow.
now they're coming together and gaining friendships and sharing with each other that they've never been able to do before.
And support, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's a nonprofit, obviously, and it takes fundraising to be able to make this stuff happen. And that's what you work tirelessly on now.
That's right.
Wow.
Our nearest one here to Huntington, of course, is at the Barberville Lake. If you haven't been there to see it, it's worth your travel to go out and see the Gold Star Family Memorial Monument there that honors those of this area that sacrificed their lives for all of us.
That's awesome. And of course, there's a website too and everything else and folks get more
Yes.
detail on.
Yes.
Woody, before I let you go here, and, before the good Lord calls us back up, what do you want folks to remember Woody Williams as?
Boy, that's a tough one to answer.
Because you've done so good, so
Well,
much good for everybody.
Just remember me as I am. I love to serve people. I love to help people in any way that I possibly can. And I think that desire was placed in my heart by the Lord to help anyone that I can. And remember me as a person willing to serve.
And you still are. Salvation Army stuff you're
That's
doing
right,
too.
yes.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
still a great ambassador for him. You're a great ambassador for all of us, sir. We appreciate everything as always. And it's an honor truly for me. I know my dad, who passed away a couple of years ago as a result of Agent Orange, basically, from Vietnam. That got him later in life. And when I would tell him stories about you and whatsoever, he became a hero. You became one of his heroes too. So, and you were a great hero to me and so many others. And thank you for all you continue to do, sir.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Well, there you have it, folks. A great, true American right there, and Hershel Woody Williams, Congressional Medal of Honor winner, and still going strong at 98 years young. And thanks to Woody for stopping by and hanging out with us. Also, too, thank you for his continued work for the Gold Star families and as an ambassador for the Salvation Army, especially as we head towards the holiday season. Thanks for checking in on your Big Buck Legends one-on-one podcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and listen to us anytime, anywhere. And thanks for checking us out with Big Buck Country 101.5.
All right, son, the party's over.
You've been listening to your Big Buck Legends one-on-one podcast.
Thank you for checking us out. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast.
Okay, I need to tell you 2 things.
If you want to contact us, us, you can email us at studio@bigbuck1015.com or find us online at bigbuck1015.com.
The Big Buck Legends One-on-One podcast has been a production of Kindred Digital, Toy Production Services, and your home for the legends.
Big Buck Country 1015.